Hi, and thanks for watching. In this video, I wanted to look at Chen-style Tai Chi training and the two phrases, the body leads and the hands follow, compared with the second phrase, which is the hands lead and the body follows. So just wanted to give my understanding, at least at this point, of these two phrases and how this applies to our training. As most people are familiar with training Chen-style Tai Chi, we start with the old frame, Lao Jia. And the Lao Jia is designed to train a way of training to take away the stiff power, to find a smooth connected power, and have the power generated from the lower abdomen. So this naturally, the phrase that follows is the body leads and the hands follow. So when we have, even with the beginning motions, we have the arms coming across because the body moves in that direction. The lead hand goes forward because the body goes forward. The hands press down because the body retreats and settles down, so on and so forth. So there's a coordination that happens from the arms and the limbs and the torso, but it's the torso that drives the motion. It drives the generation of the power. So as the hands come across, it's not a motion that happens with the hands and relying only on the muscular stiff power from the arms, but it's something where we have this connection and this stable posture, and then we have the force and movement generated because of the body as a whole moving. And so we have this full, dynamic, coordinated motion. And of course, this is central for the training of the old frame and central for training Tai Chi in general. Then we get to new frame, and then the phrase that comes up is completely the reverse. We have the phrase where the hands lead and the body follows. So there's a couple things that I wanted to highlight about this. First of all is, if we look at the motions themselves, so from the beginning, we're talking about all these additional movements that happen with the arms. Right, so anyone who is familiar with training old frame and new frame, Lao Jia and Xinjia, knows that the basic sequence is exactly the same. But there is a difference in the emphasis in the training that happens and how the body is being used. And to put it simply, there's a whole lot of extra motions, extra coiling, extra fajin motions that are happening with the arms. Right? And so the simple explanation is, oh, well, this is to account for the fact that there's all these extra motions, right? So instead of the motions just being ones where we're just circling our hands around for the sake of circling them, it's asking us to pay attention to what their meaning is, or how do we make use of these additional motions? What is their purpose in part of the training, right? And so there's two things related to that I think is worth focusing on. One is that this reversal of the phrase, of the words, from the body leads to the hands lead, it doesn't mean that the generation of power is somehow different. It's still the generation of power that happens from the dantian and from this expansion, the opening and closing. So the generation of the power is exactly the same. The reason for training the old frame, for training the first method, is to find this way of generating power and directing it through the body. We don't suddenly reverse that when we're doing new frame, but we're adding something else, an additional detail. The short version that they say is, oh, well, it's to make the martial aspects more apparent. So this is the second point that I want to look at. How does it make the martial applications more apparent? And the easiest way to summarize it, for example, with new frame or old frame, in that opening move, the hands come across and then they just come through. New frame, same motion, but there's this extra coil that happens here, and then the same motion happens again. What is the function of this extra hand repositioning? The way I look at it, because in both cases, if we look at the martial applications, there is this connection and deflection, this rollback that happens here, right? And so it's not that the rollback is any different, it's that having done that, we've already connected to the person, we've already moved their force off to the side. We've already had a chance to not only stick, but then to find their center and with our connection, if our skill is high enough, have a sense of where the center of gravity is, right? So then the meaning of this extra circle, I think, is to interrupt their dynamic, right? So it's still this thing where we connect, we deflect, we sense where they are, find the opportunity, and move in and direct power in. It's just that the additional piece that we have with new frame is that we have opportunities to interrupt their dynamic, to provoke a response, to upset their center of gravity, etc., etc. The specifics of it is not inherent in the movements, because this is maybe now a third point, which is we mustn't forget the overall approach to martial training with Tai Chi, which is always focused on the general ability to move and generate power in the broadest quality and sense. Students will ask, well, what is the application here? And the teacher will come up with some examples and then say, oh, but don't think of it only as that. Don't make it too concrete. Don't make the understanding too narrow, because it's this ability, it's understanding and training an ability to move in a particular way. It's an ability to sense in a particular way and to generate power and express that power in a particular way. They often say, ultimately, the highest goal of Tai Chi in the martial aspect of things is that it has no strategy, it has no specific technique. It becomes an inherent way that the body is organized, and so then it just responds. Spontaneous. Right? And so when we're looking at new frame and we're looking at all this extra coiling that happens, we want to understand where it comes from or what it's for. We can think of specifics, but we need to also keep in mind that it's more this understanding of how the body, the hands can lead, creating an opening, creating a response, interrupting the opponent's dynamic, and then from there we generate the power, we execute some sort of way of generating force. Right? So from there, there's that understanding, first of all, that when we do the hands lead and the body follows, the generation of force is still the same, still this coordinated motion from mind and body, intention and chi, from this core of the body through to the extremities. Does not change from old frame to new frame. Right? The second, though, is that the meaning, when we do this circling of the arms, we don't want to just circle the arms endlessly in spirals without meaning. We need to understand how the movement is coordinated and what the direction of the movement is, how it can be used to create a response from the opponent, how it's doing something that sets our body up more, so that from there we can then go through and find the posture and direct the line of force through the posture. And the third is to keep in mind that this is a general training method. We can have in mind specific situations and techniques if it helps us provide meaning into why our hands are positioning and moving into certain ways. But we need to understand that the possibilities are kept broader if we understand that what we're doing is training an innate ability in the body rather than training specific techniques. So I hope this information is helpful for you. Keep training, keep practicing, and take care.